I'm striving to get rich. That's why I almost went 2 years without buying shoes and fits. Things change now. My mom hearing me with my music and she look a little proud.
Yo, what's up, world? Welcome back to the channel. APW Sports signing in. And today is the Week 8 Power Rankings. But before I get into this video, make sure that you guys are staying absolutely safe. I know I'm uploading a little bit late, but had to go out and vote. But you guys do your part. Go vote as well. Also, about 60 to 70% of the people that watch my videos are not subscribed to the channel. So if you fall into that category, go ahead right now and click that subscribe button and also click that notification bell so you will not miss a video. But let's dive into these rankings. Now we have the Washington football team. I still have questions about them offensively. I still have questions about them defensively. It's not a very good football team. Quarterback situation remains to be a mystery. So I'm going to have them here. San Francisco 49ers. The injury bug has killed this team. Injury bug has killed the Niners. I'm going to put them, if it wasn't for the injury bug, I would have them there. But Jimmy G being out and George Kittle being out for 8 weeks, I'll have to rank this team there. It's an ugly sight for the injuries. Next is my Bears, and we're not even going to speak about them offensively. One of the worst offenses I've seen in quite a while from this franchise. Quite a while. And we're talking about a franchise that had Jay Cutler as quarterback. Offense, not very good. Too much pressure put on the defense. The critics called the Bears a fraudulent team. Honestly, I'm starting to see a little bit of it, mainly offensively. The defense still playing well, still doing their part, but the offense is just horrendous. Next, we have the Cincinnati Bengals coming off a very good win against the Tennessee Titans. This team, I put them there all season, but this team, they play extremely hard. I think outside of Baltimore, all of their games have been very, very close. This team plays absolutely hard. They're still young and they're still rebuilding. I love what I'm seeing from Joe Burrow. The defense is playing a little bit better as the season goes on. So I'm going to put the Cincinnati Bengals at a D. Next, we have the Buffalo Bills. It's hard to take with this team. I'm going to put them at a B. They had a couple of weeks where they struggled, but they found a way to get a W this past week over the New England Patriots. Josh Allen is still progressing into a good quarterback in this league. So I'm going to put them at a B. Next, we have the Denver Broncos. I'm going to put them at a D. They're a mystery to me because some weeks they look like crap and then some weeks, at some points, they look good. Defensively, Bradley Chubb is starting to really ball out now. The offense is starting to get a little bit of a rhythm, so I'm going to put them at a D. Next, we have the Cleveland Browns. I'm going to put them at a C. They haven't been playing as well as they have been in the past. I think without Odell Beckham, offense looks just a little bit different. I still believe in Myles Garrett's ability to rush the passer, but I'm going to put the Cleveland Browns at a C for now. Next, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming off a good win against the New York Giants this past Monday night. I'm going to put the new... Where can I put this team? Have to put them there. Despite being down early, still found a way to come back. The defense has been playing a lot better than what I expected. Offense is still finding their rhythm. There's Brady to Gronk. They're finally finding their rhythm. And I feel ever since the Bears lost, they're really starting to finally find some rhythm offensively. Next, we have the Arizona Cardinals. I'm going to put them at a B. I think they were coming off of a bye this week. Kyler Murray to DeAndre Hopkins has looked very, very good. The defense is still looking for a little bit of a pass rush without Chandler Jones. But I still have this Arizona Cardinals team at a B. Still a very competitive football team. It is still a very, very good football team, and they're on the rise this year, as I predicted. Next, we have the Los Angeles Chargers, who ended up blowing it against Denver. I'm going to put this team at a C. Defensively, I think is where they struggle a little bit. Herbert is looking like a real deal at the quarterback position, but I just think at times on defense, this team has its lapses, and not just small lapses. I think this team has big lapses defensively. Albeit they have a lot of injuries. They did just trade Desmond King, which I think was not a great move. But overall, defensively, I think this where this team has been falling in trouble a bit. Offensively is looking very good, especially with Herbert playing the way he's been playing. But the defense, I think it has lapses. Next, we're going to have the Kansas City Chiefs. We're going to put them there. Offensively, let's just say it. I mean, it was against the sorry Jets, so, I mean, can't put too much stock on that. But Patrick Mahomes did have a better game. Patrick Mahomes, 5 touchdowns, over 400 yards. Had very, very good game. The offense was clicking. Defense played well, but like I said, it was against the Jets, so can't put too much stock on that win. But either way, this Chiefs team is still an A. Next, we have the Indianapolis Colts. It's just something about this defense that, I mean, this defense has been playing a lot better. They played a lot better against Detroit, which I still think Matt Stafford is very underrated. But Phillip Rivers had one of his best games, enabled him to put up 41 points. I'm going to have them at a C. They had some bad losses this year, but last week against the Lions, if that's any telling, I think they're going to have a better second half down the stretch. Next, we have the Dallas Cowboys. First team I'm putting at an F. This is the first team I'm putting at an F. Quarterback situation is crazy since the loss of Dak Prescott. Now we just got news that Andy Dalton won't play this week. He's been put on the COVID list. So, and it's too much going on in Dallas. Too much drama. Too much going on down in Dallas. So I'm going to have to put them there. Miami Dolphins is a surprise competitive team this year. Even with Tua, they were still able to put off a win against a very, very good Rams football team. They turned the Rams over. Tua played the game well. He managed enough to win that football game. But they were able to turn the Rams over a ton. So I put this Dolphins team at a C. Very, very big surprise coming into this year. I thought this team was going to struggle, but they have been playing some really solid football so far this year. Next, we have the NFC least Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to put them at a D. I mean, this team, you just don't know what to make of this Eagles team. I'm not going to put too much stock against the Cowboys because that team is just absolutely awful. And it's just so much that this Eagles team has trouble with injuries. Defense is not very solid. So I'm going to put this Eagles team at a D. And it's just a shock that they're in first place. But the NFC least is the worst division in football. Next, I'm going to have the Atlanta Falcons. They did come off a win against a very solid Carolina Panther football team. So I'm going to have the Atlanta Falcons at a D. The defense played a lot better against Carolina. Offensively, they did move the ball. And they were able to hold on to a lead for once this year. Pull off a win against the Carolina Panthers. So I'm going to have the Atlanta Falcons at a D. Calvin really going down could possibly hurt them a bit, but the way this team looked, even without his presence, still looked very solid against the Carolina Panthers. Next, we're going to have the Giants. Blew another lead against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last night on Monday night. The offense is playing better, but I just feel they get in their own way with mistakes and turnovers at the wrong times. Daniel Jones has a big habit of turning the football over. And I think if it wasn't for the turnovers, this Giants team could possibly be leading the division if they didn't get in their own way and make so many mistakes. So next we have the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm going to have them at an F. This team is not playing very well. They had a bye as well. Going off against a loss against the Chargers. Jaguars team is just not very good. It's not a very good football team. It's not. Next, we have the worst football team in the NFL. The worst team in the NFL. Look bad against KC. They've been looking bad all year. They've been getting pieces out of there. It's a disaster in New York. It's an absolute disaster with them. And What more can I say about the Jets? They're just the worst. That's why I have them in their own category. They're just god awful. God awful. But next we have the Detroit Lions. Now this one is a struggle between F and D. But I'm going to have to put the Lions at... I'm going to have to put them at an F. Defensively, they haven't been very good all year. They've been blowing leads. And they didn't play very well against Indianapolis last week. And then on top of that, like I said, Matthew Stafford needs to get out of Detroit. He needs to get out of there. He needs to get out of there. Defense, Matt Patricia has just not been very good. Offensively, they had some moments, but when the defense is not very good and they've been struggling, can't win too many football games with that. Next, we have the Green Bay Packers, who coming off a loss to the Minnesota Vikings. I'm going to drop them. I've usually had them in the A for the most of the year, but I'm going to drop them to a B, and here's why. Not because I'm a Bear fan, but their defense has been a concern at least the last couple of weeks against Tampa and now against the why am I blanking? The Minnesota Vikings. Dalvin Cook had a field day on them. And his defense is, I'm not going to say they're not good, but they just had some bad weeks. Offensively, they didn't play at their best against the Minnesota Vikings. And seeing that the Vikings are a very struggling football team, to the way they looked offensively in the ground game against the Green Bay Packers, I'm not going to say it's troubling, but that drops them down to a B in my opinion. Next, we have the Carolina Panthers coming off a couple of losses in a row. I'm going to put them I hate to drop them there, but I like how Teddy Bridgewater has been playing. It's just this defense has been giving up a little bit too much for this offense to really come back on. The offense has been looking okay for the most part with Brady and Matt Rule as coach, but defensively, I think that's what they're struggling. I think that's the side of the ball that the Carolina Panthers are struggling on. Next, we have the New England Patriots. It feels weird for me to even put them there, but this team, their strength is defense, but defense has not been very good the past couple of weeks for the Patriots. They've been struggling. The offense has been struggling. There's been a lot of reports coming out about how the salary cap and all that. This team has just been struggling a lot. I think if Cam Newton didn't have the COVID and have the time off, and I think that's affecting him more than what he's letting on. But I think this New England Patriots team is just not playing to their strengths. The defense is not playing very well. Offensively, they're not finding any rhythm. And then the injuries on top of that have been hurting them too. So even with Stephon Gilmore with the knee, you have Julian Edelman and N'Keal Harry that was out. So you lose a lot with the injury. So I'm going to have them at a D. Next, we have the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm going to put them at a C. Offense has been very much surprising this year. John Gruden has got this offense in a very solid rhythm. Despite last week 2 weeks ago against Tampa Bay Buccaneers, even though the offense, I think, is a strength of this team, defensively, I think they can use a bit more pass rushing, I think. But offensively is really what kept the Raiders in game so far this season. So I'm going to have them at a C. Next, we have the LA Rams. This team is hard to really depict between B and C. But if I had to base it off of this past week against Miami, I'll have them here. Because offensively, they turned the ball over way too much against Miami. Defensively, they didn't have the worst games defensively, but I just think offense turning the ball over so much really, really cost this Rams team against the Miami Dolphins. So I'm going to have them there. They're a very solid football team, but just basing it off of what I seen last week offensively and turning the football over, I'm going to have the LA Rams at a C. Next, we have the Baltimore Ravens. We're going to have them in a B. But the thing that intrigues me about this Ravens football team is their inability to attack outside passing game. Lamar Jackson, he has times where he has struggled a bit throwing the ball outside the numbers this year. And it's almost to a point to where teams are really daring the Ravens to beat them throwing the football. And they haven't been able to do it on a consistent basis. As much as I'm a fan of watching Lamar Jackson play, I just think he needs work. Not even just him. I think this team needs work on their outside passing game. I think teams have really started to figure out a little bit of how to slow them down in the running game. So I think their outside passing game needs work. Their defense is still a really good defense. Defense is still really good. But offensively, I just think they need to work on the outside passing game for Lamar Jackson and their outside receivers. Up the middle, they're good. But outside, they need work. Next, we have the New Orleans Saints. I'm going to have them at a B, coming off a win against my Bears. But even without Michael Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders, this offense was still able to move the ball against a very, very good Bears defense. Now, the Saints defense had lapses. They struggled for some points of this game, albeit the Bears offense was just god-awful, so that helped them look even better as well. But I do like how fast this team plays with DeMarco Davis at linebacker. Now they just acquired Quan Alexander, which I think will be a big help on this defense. So the secondary's been playing a little bit better the past couple of weeks. I think they still need work defensively, but offensively, Sean Payton and Drew Brees and Alvin Kamara, they've been finding ways to move the football at a very good rate. Next, we have the Seattle Seahawks. Russell Wilson for MVP. I've been saying this all year. Russell Wilson for MVP. I'm going to keep on saying it. Russell Wilson for MVP. His defense can use a little bit more work. DK Metcalf is looking like the absolute steal of the 2019 draft. Getting him in the third round, a talented receiver like this, Seahawks got them a dangerous weapon in DK Metcalf. And Tyler Lockett has been playing very good football. Next, we have, I think, the best team in football, the most complete team in the NFL, the Pittsburgh Steelers. A lot of people say, oh, their schedule is soft. They've been beating the teams that you put in front of them. So, and then the way that they've looked so far against the teams that are better, like the Tennessee Titans, against the teams like the Baltimore Ravens. Even Philly has a decent offense, and they look really good against them. Chase Claypool has been a very good find for them. And the Steelers' defense is a very opportunistic defense. They turn you over. They can rush after the quarterback. They're good at stopping the run. I just think this Steelers team is the most complete team in football. And Big Ben, I think, can be comeback player of the year the way he's been playing so far this season. Next, we have the Houston Texans. Going to put them in an F. Defense, I think that was going to be their strength coming into the year. That's been absolutely struggling. Offense has not been playing well, but they don't have a lot of weapons. Fuller and Cobb and Cooks, they just have not worked out necessarily. Trading DeAndre Hopkins, I still think was the biggest mistake that they ever made. And I think this team, I'm not going to say full rebuild mode, but they just have a lot of shuffling to do with their roster, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Next, we have the Tennessee Titans. Coming off a loss to Cincinnati, I'm still going to have this team at a B. I just think them running the football is very, very physical football team, both on offense and on defense. The loss of Taylor Lewan to their offensive line has been noticeable. It's been very, very noticeable. He's one of the better left tackles in this league. And I think him being out with the torn ACL has really, really hurt this Titans offensive line. The defense is a very solid defense. This football team is a really good football team. So I'm going to have them at a B despite the loss to Cincy. But the eye test says that this Titans team is really still a good football team. And last but not least, we have the Minnesota Vikings. And they had a very impressive win against the Green Bay Packers. I'm going to have them at a D. I just think if Kirk Cousins gets a little bit of rhythm in his running game, is going to do well. This offense can move the ball effectively. I just think defensively, I think that's where their main struggles is at. They lost a lot of pieces on defense, and it's really starting to show for this Minnesota Vikings football team. But these are my rankings for the week. That's all I have for you guys. APW Sports signing out. Make sure you guys stay safe. Have a great next day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
I wanna say thank you to my mom and my dad. daddy for making love the night that you had me. Wanna thank my friends, my sister, and my brother.